Hi friends, it's finally fall up here in Canada, so I thought it would be fun to make an easy triangle shawl pattern and tutorial to help welcome the cooler weather. My favorite thing about this lightweight shawl is that it has the perfect drape to wrap around your neck and double as a scarf for when the winter arrives. I recommend following along with me as you watch the video, and then once you have the stitch pattern down, you can find the free pattern written out on the Lily Knits website. Please check it out. The link is in the description below the video. There is also the option on my website to purchase the ad-free PDF file if you would like your own copy to print out and support this site and this channel. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to briefly go over the supplies that you'll need to make your own shawl. So you'll need about 700 yards of worsted weight yarn. I'm using Amigo XL from Hobby, which is 100% acrylic worsted weight yarn. You can find this online from Hobby's website. And I'm also using a I9 crochet hook, yarn needle to weave in any loose ends. You could also use your crochet hook to weave in ends if you like to do it that way, and scissors in case you need to cut your yarn. We begin our shawl by making a magic ring. So if you don't know what a magic ring is, it's just an adjustable loop that you can crochet into and then tighten. So you'll see what I mean once I make one. So to make a magic ring, I like to do it by taking my first two fingers and then wrapping my yarn with the loose end hanging towards the right twice around my fingers like that. And then you just rotate your fingers so that you can just grab onto each end. So I'll grab onto this side with my thumb, and then I'll grab onto the other side just by like grabbing it with my last two fingers. And then I know this feels a little awkward the first time you do it, so you might want to practice a few times, but it's actually quite simple. You basically just want to loop the yarn twice around your two fingers so that you can grab onto this inner strand right there. So now that I have it in place, I insert my crochet hook right into there and then into the center of the loop, and I grab onto the inner strand and just pull it through. And that's basically how you make a magic loop. So then you can let go of the ends. And it feels a little like unstable or strange, but don't worry, once you start working into it, it'll hold together really well. So I'm going to chain 3. And this will count as my first double crochet into my magic loop. So now we're going to work the remaining of our double crochets. So for row 1, we want to work 4 double crochets, chain 2, and then work 4 more double crochets. So there's 4 double crochets on each side separated by a chain 2 in the middle. So because my chain 3 here counted as my first double crochet, I'm just going to work 3 more double crochets into my loop. And just be careful you don't end up crocheting like into this part of it. You want to hold your free strand just away so that it doesn't get in the way there, and you're crocheting right into the magic loop. So I'm going to work 3. And don't worry if this loop gets really big, you can just pull on your free strand to tighten it. And if it gets too tight, you can just pull on this to loosen it. So that's why I guess it's called a magic loop. So okay, so I have two double crochets in my chain 3, so that's 3 double crochets, and then 1 more double crochet. Okay, so that's one side of my triangle. I'm just going to tighten it a bit so it looks nicer. And then chain 2, and then work 4 more double crochets. Oops. Okay, so now I have my triangle, but it doesn't look very good, does it? Because there's this big gaping loop here. But I'm just going to pull the end of the yarn and tighten it. So I just hold on to my work and just pull it. And there we go. Now we have a nice triangle. So you can see that we have 4 double crochets separated by a chain 2 space, and then 4 more double crochets on each side. So when we continue working our shawl, we're just going to be building on it by increasing along the middles and the ends, and that's how it's going to grow. So it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So for row 2, I'm just going to chain 3, and this will count as my first double crochet of the row, and it's also my first increase, because when I work my first stitch, I'm going to crochet right into my first double crochet from the row before. So that would make this chain 3 the extra increase for my end there. So I work 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way to the middle. So now that I'm at the middle chain 2 space, I want to increase 2 stitches on each side in the middle. So I work 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space, and then chain 2, and then work 2 more double crochets into the same space. So I've increased by 3 stitches on each side, 1 on the end and 2 on the inside. So I've worked 1/2 of my triangle and the first 2 stitches of the second half. So now I'm just going to crochet down to the other end by working a double crochet in each stitch. Now remember, our first chain 3 from our row before was a double crochet, so don't forget to count that as a stitch here, and that is your last stitch. It's not the first like real double crochet from the row before. It's the chain 3 that you made to begin with. So I can see that that would be a spot where a lot of people would make mistakes, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets into my last stitch to make my end increase. And if you're concerned that you didn't do it right, sorry, it's tricky getting into that. You can always count your stitches at the end on each side and just make sure they match up and that you've increased by a total of 3 stitches on each side from what you had from the row before. So I've worked two double crochets into my last double crochet, and now I'm done row 2. So I can verify this by counting my stitches too. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the other side. So my triangle is symmetrical. So I can turn my work and begin row 3. Row 3 is a fun row because it's the first row where we have eyelets. So to begin, we'll do our chain 3, which remember counts as the first double crochet and the increase for our row, and then work a double crochet into the first stitch. And then we chain 2 and skip the next 2 double crochets, which are this stitch and this stitch, and then we work a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So basically what we're doing is 2 double crochets followed by a chain 2 gap, and skipping 2 double crochets to create our eyelets. So I've chained 2, and now I skip these 2 stitches and work a double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that's my repeat, is 2 double crochets followed by a chain 2 and skipping the next 2 double crochets. So our triangle is really small right now, so I didn't really get to do the repeat very often. Actually, I only did it once. But as your triangle grows, you will have more repeats to work with. So I've chained 2 and I skip the next 2 double crochets, and now I'm at the center. And we work our center just like we have been for the previous row. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets into the center chain 2 space. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets into that same chain 2 space. So I've increased by 2 again on each side of my triangle. And then I just repeat all the way back down the other end. So I chain 2 and skip the next 2 double crochets and work a double crochet in each of the next 2 double crochets. And then to end the row, so the repeat says that we we double crochet in the next 2 double crochets, chain 2, skip the next 2 double crochets until we reach our last double crochet, which remember is our chain 3 from the previous row. And then we work 2 double crochets into that last double crochet so that we increase by 1 stitch on that end. And that's it for row 3. So you can see there's 2 double crochets followed by a gap, 2 double crochets followed by a gap, 2 double crochets followed by a gap, going all the way down. And if you want, you can double check to make sure that they're the same. You have the same number of stitches on each side and your triangle is symmetrical. And then you're ready to begin the next row, which is row 4. Row 4 is just another row of double crochets. So we double crochet all the way up one side of the triangle, work our increases in the middle, and then double crochet all the way down this side of the triangle. And of course, we're making our increases on the ends as well. So I'll begin by chaining 3 for my first increase of this side, and then I work 2 double crochets in the following stitches, or 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 double crochets. So there's my increase and then my first 2 double crochets. And now we're at our chain 2 space. So we just work 2 double crochets into our chain 2 space to work the double crochets that need to be there to keep our stitch count. So every time you see a chain 2 space on a row 4 repeat, that just means that you need to work 2 double crochets into that space. And then just double crochet into each of the double crochets. So again, 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. And then double crochet in the next 2 double crochets until we reach the center chain 2 space. So now that we're at the center chain 2 space, I'm sure you can guess what we're going to do here, which is just what we've been doing for every row, which is 2 double crochets to make our increase, and then chain 2 and 2 more double crochets, all in that same space. And then we work all the way down the other end. Double crocheting in each double crochet, and then working 2 double crochets in each chain 2 space. So you can see how this shawl will build really quickly because it's just double crochets and chains. And it's already looking nice and big, I guess. Okay, so I'm at the end, so I work a double crochet in the second last stitch, and then I work 2 double crochets in my last stitch, which is the chain 3 from that I began the previous row with. And there you go. That's it for row 4. And again, if you're nervous that you're not doing it right, you can again count your stitches all the way up each side and just make sure that you didn't skip anything, and that you've been increasing by 6 stitches each row on each side. No, sorry, by 6 stitches total, 3 stitches on each side, 1 on the end and then 2 in the middle on each side. So that's row 4. And then row 5 is super easy. It's just a repeat of row 2. So I will chain 3 to begin row 5, and then simply single crochet or double crochet in each stitch all the way up my triangle. And then once you reach the center, increase by 2 in the chain 2 space, chain 2, and then add your other 2 increase for the other side. And then work down the other side of the triangle. And then don't forget at the last stitch to work 2 double crochets so that you have your end increase. So that's what your work will look like at the end of row 5. All you have to do now is repeat rows 2 through 5 9 more times. Once you have completed the last repeat, fasten off, weave in all loose ends, and wet or steam block the shawl to the measurements specified in the pattern. I highly recommend wet blocking as it relaxes the fibers in the yarn and stretches out the shawl for a better drape. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe to the Lily Knits YouTube channel and give the video a thumbs up. It really helps to support this channel and allows me to continue to provide free content and tutorials. Don't forget, you can find the full pattern for this shawl on the Lily Knits website, linked to in the description below. Bye for now.